I just saw the Brav New World with Captain Black Man, Mackie, Mecco, Black Mac. How was it? Well, the Hulk was good. That sequence was good. And there were a few other sequences that were pretty good. But as a totality, well, it's not one of the worst MCU films. Okay, so it's not Madame Web. I want to be careful. It did not get into the Madame Web territory where even the dialogue and sound design and just basic camera movements were incompetent because, oh man, Madame Web really failed at almost even basic levels of just credible CGI. So the CGI is a little bit better, action is done a little bit better, and the directing is a little bit more solid. But in a few places, it felt very lazy. And I'm not blaming the director because the director doesn't matter. This is clearly a Kevin Feige production, and clearly beyond a certain point, they're like, get the hell out of the director's seat. We're just gonna go full robot, and it definitely feels very robotic, very AI. They're not embarrassed. It just feels like dry paint, and we're watching the dry paint, and we know it's computerized dry paint, so it's a little frustrating. So what is happening? Well, and they kind of gave it away in the trailer, but this is no spoiler review, so I'm going to leave it vague. A Hulk villain decides, I want a Hulk, and I'm going to make the president a Hulk. And there we are. But Captain America's like, no, that's a bad idea. I'm going to stop you. And then guest stars ensue, and Breaking Bad man just comes onto the scene and tries to shoot Black Captain America for reasons. And I would do it for free, but they offered me money. This is the great dialogue. I would kill you for free, Black Captain, but instead I'm going to enjoy trying to kill you with super machine gun. And again, I'm not going to go too much into the detailed scenes because I'm not going to spoil things. But that sequence was done well. But it was like, we know he's not going to die because he's the title character. So it just seems like this thing could have been a really fun, juicy thriller. But it is very, what is it? Mush. It's like oatmeal. It's like even the stuff that feels really like, oh, okay, we're going somewhere. We're gonna go somewhere. It's just still not clear what they're up to because the infamous MCU humor keeps rearing its head. That said, most of the film is serious. It does have a serious tone, which is delightful because most MCU films degenerate into just clown shows. So they don't go full clown, but it just felt that they weren't willing to really rankle anyone, really. So you just watch and say, was it left or right? It's like, I don't know. It's just bland. It's just bland. That said, Mackie is very committed. He definitely worked out because there was a few shots of him taking off his clothes. Like Jesus, he really pumped the weights for this one. That said, a committed performer can only go so far, and they don't rub your nose in it that he is quote Black Captain America. I appreciated that, but yeah, it just feels that the script, as well as the direction, was very mechanized beyond a certain point. Whether that was the original intention, I mean, this thing was delayed about what 3 times, so they clearly have mucked around with this thing so many times. Even the good acting, where it is good, just kind of gets muddled in this very convoluted plot, and you're like, why convoluted? Just make him to the Hulk. I mean, it just didn't make any sense. So I suspect this is not the real film. We're just getting a kind of committee compromise. Why? I don't know. And listen, I'm a fan of the Eternals. I like the Hulk, but we don't really get much with those stories. It's just little threads just being threaded together. Is it passable? Yeah, it's okay-ish. But given what it could have been, it's pretty disappointing. Although I can't say I'm disappointed because I never had much hope in the first place. But however, if you are a true MCU fan and you've been frustrated by some of the direction they were going in, this isn't really going to convince you that they're going to right the ship and produce cinematic greatness. And it's just not as fun as Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, that film had scene after scene that were consistently funny and energetic. This one only had like really 3 to 4 scenes that were really that good. So overall, it's more bad than good, but not terrible. It's not complete garbage. It just feels like there's a lot of missing components, whether that was the editing problem or the director or the producers just didn't know what the hell to do. I don't know. I really don't care. I'm just here to judge the film. So it's fun enough if you're not thinking or care about the larger MCU canon. If you have watched every MCU film, you will get a lot of bonuses. You will be like, oh, I recognize that person. Who? Is that her? Yes, that's her. She shows up. So a lot of interesting guest appearances do show up here, but it's not like it really coheres into anything interesting. It's just like, oh, okay. He showed up, they showed up. But I will give Mackie and Harrison Ford because this is a pretty good Harrison Ford film. It's a really good performance with him, but the performance are just kind of wasted. It just doesn't really ever get traction until the end with the Hulk, and that's fun. But it was just really sloppy to get there. So I will have to give Captain Black, whatever Brave New Mackie Man. I will give that a 5.5. Not terrible, terrible. I do think it's a little bit better than Ant Man Quantum Mania that also had the black can guy. It's better than Ant Man 3. It's better than Madame Web. But yeah, it's not even at MCU Spider Man level or Deadpool level. I mean, it's just not fun enough. I mean, you can have a serious conspiracy thriller and it be fun. Here it was just very dry for no reason and toothless. I don't know if they're just scared of the Trump administration or they're just not going to pay enough attention. That said, the Hulk was decent, Ford was decent, Mackie was decent, and it could have been worse. That's about it. It could have been a lot worse and even more boring, but it was just semi boring with a few good action scenes here and there. But even the action scenes were not very inspired. And that is the new Black Brave Black Captain MCU America Captain Corporate. Oh yeah, the product placement was also a little annoying, but it wasn't as bad as Madame Web. So there you go. Brave New Black Captain, whatever, Part 5, better than Madame Web. That's about it.